A very good morning to all of you. I, Cherupuzha, welcome you all warmly into our midst to join this speaking session. I am the trainer of AJINORAH Global Ventures. Do welcome you warmly in this session, speaking seamlessly for IELTS students. Yes, you know that English is an international language which is spoken widely over, and it is a global language. So let us see the importance of the language. Let's have a look at the PPT. Yes, so you know that it comprises of 4 elements, that is pronunciation, grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resources, and fluency and coherence. Apart from these, we also have a little bit other, that is more value points which would add up to the IELTS. Let's have a look at the PPT. Yes. So you know that the importance of the English language, as I said, it is the language which is widely used, and it is the best medium of communication internationally. It is, of course, the language, the top language of the internet. You know that almost all the universities, many of the countries use this as a medium of instruction in various fields of education, especially that is medical field, engineering, and business, entertainment, travel, tourism, and various other subjects. So the importance of the language English is really very important. It is just immeasurable. Now let's have a look at the measuring rod for IELTS speaking. So today I want all the IELTS aspirants who would love to know more about the speaking session to join us, and let's have a go together. There are various parameters which we have to follow, that is pronunciation, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, and fluency and coherence. That is the topic for today, that is the fluency and coherence, which I'll be going into detail with you. Above all these, there are certain other aspects which you have to follow, that is the stress, accent, and intonation. Let us go to each one by one. Yes, so pronunciation, it is the word, like if you get a word, it should be pronounced properly. You know, a word is divided into syllables. And what is a syllable? A syllable comprises of the various vowels. It has been divided into vowels. For example, go, the word go, it is a diphthong. G-O is the letter, but still you pronounce it as go. Like O, U sound, 2 sounds together come, so it is go. And another word, for example, a bigger word, if you take, for example, examination. Here it is divided into examination. Now here you can see the 4 syllables, that is, and the one which is stressed is on examination, that is a 3rd syllable. So the pronunciation should always be strictly followed like the native speakers. Yes, so I insist everybody to speak the correct pronunciation. So speaking does not determine the spelling at all. So the spelling, English is actually a phonetic language, so it is like, you know, it is not a phonetic language. I'm sorry, it's not a phonetic language. So you write something but you read something. So that is how the pronunciation is. It's not like the mother tongue Malayalam, like how we write it and we just read it. It is slightly different. So now let's move on to the lexical resources. Yes, it enriches our, it is of course a resource, you know, and the vocabulary that you use should be very should be a better one, should be better standard. it should not be a common language or a common word that you normally use. So the IELTS examiners always look for a better uncommon words whichever you use, and here it comprises of that is the vocabulary. It should be flexibly used. You should be able to use it flexibly, and it is not like a by-hearted way that you are using. And of course you can probably use idioms and phrases in it, and the collocation of words also should be very good, should be correct with a proper style. Now let's move on to the grammatical range and accuracy. Yes, you know that grammar is the backbone of the language. You cannot move it away from this language at all, and that is where most of the students find it very difficult. Under this grammatical range and accuracy, you have to really make a real study about the different types of sentences, like complex sentence, compound sentences should be obviously used. You should be able to inculcate in this habit of using the complex and compound sentences in this. That accounts to your marks, it accounts to your standard of writing as well as speaking. So the grammar should be very perfect, and you know that you can also use the different parts of speech, that is the articles, yes, adverbs, pronouns, all these prepositions. Yes, most of this you always make some mistakes, some errors in the preposition as well. So just concentrate on the preposition as well. So all these things should be accurately used. It is not, so that's why grammatical range and accuracy, it's not that you cannot say that you have used this grammar, but why I have scored less marks. No, it should be accurately used and it should be properly used. So that is what you call it as the grammatical range and accuracy. Now fluency and coherence. Of course, that's the topic of us today, and we'll be going into detail with that. Okay, and now next is the stress. Okay, the stress is, it has the word stress, like as you have told you, like how it is stressed in the pronunciation, maybe the first syllable or the last syllable or the mid syllable, it can be stressed. Similarly, when you read a sentence, whichever word you want to highlight, whichever word you want to give importance to, that word should be stressed and spoken. So that is what the examiner, the examiner do not know whether which word you are highlighting on. So that word in a sentence should be excellently or should be highlighted. So in order to highlight, you have to stress that word and speak. All right. So next, the one is accent. You know that every countries they have a mother tongue influence, that's quite normal, and accent is actually taken quite normal. It doesn't mean that you should have the British accent itself, but probably it would be better if you use a proper way and the right way of using, but yet that is also always forsaken. No? You know that is not a very strictly accepted thing, but still it would be better if you use a better accent. And you know, the Chinese have the accent of the Chinese, and in India itself we have various states, and every states, the people of certain states, they have an influence towards their mother tongue. Like Tamilians, when they speak, they have a little bit of influence of the mother tongue. When the Malayalis speak, that's quite normal. So and it is also accepted in the IELTS, provided you speak the pronunciation correctly. All right. Next is the intonation. Yes, there is the rising intonation and also the falling intonation. You know, rising intonation, you know, it's just like how you speak a sentence and how the ending of the sentence is. Certain sentences, like for a short statement or a short sentence, you say, oh, that's great, that's great. You see something and you make a good comment and the intonation goes high, that's great. Next, if you ask a question, would you like to come with me? So that end is just a sort of rising intonation. And of course, probably you can use the tag questions. Aren't you well? Aren't you well? And then you fix the question, are you? So are you again. Now another one, would you like to do this for me? Would you like to do this for me? Wouldn't you? So that wouldn't you, that ending of the tag question, that is what you call it as the rising intonation. Yes. Now the following intonation, it's just like, you know, I bought some vegetables, fruits from the, bought some vegetables and fruits from the market. You're just telling it just a normal way, and it has just a flat, it is, you're not rising the tone at all, and there is no intonation there. It is just a falling intonation. And when you give certain commands also, it comes as a falling intonation. So this is all about this, I mean the different parameters or the criteria. Now today's our topic is the fluency. All right, so speaking fluency, I would help you how to do or how to make use of your fluency in a proper way. Now what's fluency? Yes, all the above discussed criteria or the parameters include the fluency of the language, and actually it is the flow, by which you use efficiently, quickly and reasonably, okay, and very comfortably. So if you use this language in a very flow, in a flow, now you have a person say, like without a lot of pauses or without long pauses. If you speak it very fluently, you can say, he is an excellent speaker, or he has a good fluency in the language. So it is, after all, the flow of the language which you use with efficiency and with ease, and it should be used reasonably. Now let's go to the tips here. Now here are some tips which would help you to elevate your efficiency and fluency during or else speaking, that is speaking session, particularly in the exam. Yeah, number one is that you do not pause to think. The examiner, like particularly in the part 3, when the examiner asks a tough question, maybe you will not be, maybe you wouldn't have understood the question in a proper manner, and you just stop for a while to think. So you can obviously ask during that time, during that short span of time, what you can do is, you can just say this, like for example, you can say, like what do you say? That's an interesting question. I did not understand. I think this is a tough question. So this is the way that you can just speak in between, so that the examiner will not understand that you are just in a fix to answer the question. All right, and you can also say, but I'll try. It's quite a difficult question, but I'll try to answer it. Now another point is that you avoid using fillers. Sometimes some students or some candidates have the habit of saying, yeah, like that. They just pause in the middle and just keep on saying, yeah, I know, well. So these words, it is better to avoid these sounds or these particular words in between the speaking. Now another point, that is the third one, it is extend your answers. Never wait the examiner to ask you or to prompt you with a question why or how. You can readily give a proper answer at a stretch, so that you do not give space for the, or you do not give a time for the examiner to ask further question to you, like with why and how and who and all these things. You can just give an outstretched answer and be very smart. Okay, so another one, that is the next one, is to use clear enunciation. What is it now? Make sure you enunciate, you utter the word, you pronounce the word, you articulate the word properly. Okay, so you should not have the tendency, you should not have that fear and just closing your mouth and speaking. You should give a wide smile and speak wide open mouth, speak with wide open mouth and in a smiling face, so that you will be able to articulate every word perfectly and correctly, and it will also look quite pleasing to the examiner. So it's better that you speak with a smiling face, so that he or she also will find you like a very friendly kind of person. That would be good. Now regarding the tone of voice, yes, the tone of voice, it depends on the mood of the person. You can say the same sentences in different tones. You can speak in an angry tone, or you can be sarcastic, or you can be ironical, you can speak a little bit of sorrowful way. So these are the different tendency or the mood change which the speaker has, but you do not have to speak like this. For the IELTS, keep a very good tone when you speak. Another one is monotone. It is just one fixed tone. Some students I've observed that right from the beginning to the end, they just keep a same tone from the beginning. That is not at all entertained. What you have to do is, and they will also, that's another thing that they'll also do. They will just like a sing-song voice. It will be like a song from the beginning to the end. That should not be there. So you should be able to change your tone, give stress on important word, and it should not be monotonous at all. You should speak very fluently, very courageously. Be confident. You have to speak confidently. Do not fear at all. You should not be having any fear, or do not be panic at all. So do not show any panic. So this is what the examiners also are willing from you. So you have to use a proper voice with a proper modulation, stress and intonation, so that fear will be lost. It will not be sure at all. And another point to keep in mind is that speak naturally. Speak naturally. Never bother about whether you should not be afraid whether I'll be able to get that vocabulary or not. You learn a lot of vocabulary and then you will be afraid. Oh my God, will I be able to use that word? No. You should not have that fear at all. Just speak naturally, and that will sound quite interesting. Yes. So moving on to the next point, that is, I already told you that do not panic at all. So that is another point you have to keep in mind. Don't panic. Be smart. Be confident. So that's what you have to do. The next point is that let's move on to the other point, that is the speaking skill. Of the speaking skill, that is regarding the spontaneity. Spontaneity. You should be spontaneous. The spontaneous way of talking. So you should be able to elaborate. Okay. There should not be no regurgitating of the word. Like I remember while I was in school, my teachers always used to say, now don't mug up all your answers and vomit in the exam paper. So that is what even the examiners also expect from you. You should not by heart the words. There should not be any rote memory. They don't expect any prepared answers from you. You should be spontaneously speaking. What is the topic is given at that point, you should be able to speak on the time, okay, without any fear. In fact, that is what the examiner wished from you, and this would be another criteria in which you will be able to score more marks, because regurgitating the answer, you would probably lose. It would have an adverse effect on your score as well. Now your understanding and comprehending. Understanding to comprehend. Suppose you have not understood the question. Don't panic at all. You just ask, I beg your pardon, or you can say, I'm sorry, could you please come again, or I'm sorry, could you please elaborate on that, what you mean. So these sorts of questions could be asked when you do not comprehend to a particular question. You can also say, could you please repeat this. So whatever comes to your mind at that time, you can just ask very freely, no problem. They are not going to kill you or anything, so you can just be comfortable. All right. So next, if you do not know anything or a particular subject or a topic, now you have not understood, okay, it's not only the understanding part, but if you have not if you do not know what the topic is about, so what will you do? Yes, you may deviate from it a little bit and say something what you know, that's it. So you cannot change the question, but probably you can use, or you can give another answer, corresponding answer to it, and you can also say, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure about that, but I would probably say this, and then make it sure that you are able to speak on that. You may also share like what you know, and by saying these words, they should, or they will also feel comfortable that they have asked a good question, and yes, this candidate is able to answer something, a better answer, or is able to respond to the question. So that will obviously would upgrade your marks. Next one, inappropriate gestures. Certain students or certain candidates, they show inappropriate gestures which is not at all, yeah, they say IELTS actually it is accept, gestures are accepted, but the actions which you show are actually, it is not at all synchronizing with what you speak. So synchronization, that is unsynchronized action is not accepted, you know, that is some of them keep on continually shaking their legs. So that is actually a weird behavior. It doesn't look good. Another one just simply simply nodding their head from the beginning to the end, yes, yes, like this. So these things could be avoided when you are just talking. So nodding the head, actually that shows it's of course a bad manners too. Next, sometimes gestures with the hands are more than what you speak. The gestures with the hands are more than what you speak. That means certain students, they do not end the sentence. They don't end the sentence, and with the hands they like this they just show. So these words are not these actions are not accepted to complete the sentence. You cannot substitute your actions with the words which you are supposed to speak. So you should be comfortably speaking. So if you are not getting the vocabulary, just think of it. You have to work on that. So what is a word that you have not got? You just work on that. So, or you can probably speak a different method or different way. You can just be free to speak something else if you don't, or you can, if you are just caught up with some word or somewhere. So that would be something which you have to concentrate on. Okay, so nevertheless too much unsynchronized words are not accepted. In spite of certain gestures are accepted, but still I advise you not to use it. It is just a personal, with my personal understanding, this is what I am sharing with you. Now, path to tread through 3 parts. Here, yes, so I would like to check a few comments. Before we move on to the part that is in detail, I would like to see the few comments. Yes, I have seen some comments here. Thank you. All right. So let's wait for more comments. So if there is any a particular answer to be given, yes, I'm sure that I'll be able to give you. So let's wait for more comments. So next is moving on. I'm just moving ahead with the path to tread through the 3 parts of the IELTS. Which are the 3 parts? I hope you know it. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Part 1 is the introductory part, the introduction part. Part 2 is the cue card, and Part 3. Though we are concentrating more on the cue cards today, but still I'll just rush up with Part 1 and Part 3. So let's see how to handle all the 3 sections with ease. Now this is how the conversation in Part 1 should legally proceed. Okay, suppose the question is like, speak something about a family, and you know that you just I have already told you, do not mug about, do not have any rote memory. So but you can just be normally speaking, like you have to speak about the members of the family. Then you can give a little bit description about the family. You can say the eldest son, he is my eldest son, or your brother, talking about your brother or your sister, youngest sister, or is my eldest brother, like that. You can use such words. Then what they do, you can say, you can talk about the relationship. Okay, how do you spend your time together with the family, and also your attachment and the intimacy or the love that you have for the family. So this way enough, just 1, 2, 3 sentences would be fine just for Part 1. And another question, it is like, how do you spend your evening? Suppose you have got such a question, you may start like this: my evenings are normally spent by doing this dash dash dash. Okay, or you can also say like, I like spending my free time, or I like spending my I like to spend my free time like this. And you can also specify which are the activities in which you indulge in, or in which you involve in the evenings. Next, what are your hobbies? Suppose such a question is asked, and you have to know your hobbies clearly, and you can say that you can start like this: I have various hobbies, such as, you don't have to say my hobbies are like that. You can different way you can start. I have various hobbies such as this painting, okay, cycling, gardening, etc., etc., whatever. You don't say etc., but I'm just telling you, you can specify certain hobbies, whichever you can say, and this is my best hobby. Pick one among them and you say that this is my best hobby, and you can just say 2 or 3 sentences, just say or extend it to 1 or 2 sentences, that's it. Next, another way to say is my leisure activities are, okay, are listening to music, playing cricket, spending time with my friends, or helping my mother. Or you can also say my free time engagement is by dash dash dash. So these are the different methods by which you can please the examiner, rather than us beginning the same beginning the sentence in the same manner like the question. Next, another question, what do you do? So I have been a software engineer in a reputed company in India for almost 3 years, but now I am doing this. So this can be probably an answer. So now we will go into a bit of details with the cue card session. I hope you are all ready. Shall we move to the cue card session? Yes, you know that the time limit allowed for the cue card is, yes, 1 minute preparation and 2 minutes for speaking. It is 1 to 2 minutes for speaking. So you have 1 minute for preparation. So during that 1 minute session, what would you do? Suppose the question is, describe a fishing area that you visited once, and the cues are, where is it, how you knew about it, when and with whom you went there, and explain how the overall experience was. What would you do if you get such a question? Yes, you have that picture in your mind, it's just a fishing area. So whatever thoughts come to your mind, you just make a mind mapping, just draw something, okay, just like mind mapping, like clouds, like the thing you can see in cartoons and all, going like this, okay, these things, that is your mind mapping. 3, 4, and whatever words come to your mind, and you can put a question, how, where, what, or when. So these things can, whatever the question is, when you say all these things, it will be covered. The answer, you will be able to get a proper answer for that. And in that, whatever vocabulary comes to your mind, just put it there. Alright. Or you can also do a web diagram, that is just like a web diagram, the circle and then arrows on either sides. So that is a web diagram. So here also again, whatever thoughts come to your mind, when, where, for these questions you can drop some value points for that, whichever comes to your mind, that is the dictions, whichever you would probably say. Now let's go on to one by one, like how to use it, how to construct sentence. Sentence you can construct, but I will just lead you to that, okay, I will just lead you to that, how to form the sentences. Now first of all, the question is where, where is it? So you know that you have to mention the place name, where you have gone for, and you have to select where you have gone, that is a fishing area. Obviously it is the water body. So which water body you have gone to, that you can select. Yes, it can be a stream, a creek or brook, which is smaller than a river, or it can also be a rivulet, or it can really be a river itself, or a channel or canal or aqueduct. Aqueduct is a man-made channel for the flow of water. So any of these you can select where you have gone for fishing. And how you know about it, it can be some of your friends, or one of your friends have informed. You can say that one of my friends have gone to this particular place and he has given a beautiful description about it, and likewise even I have the tendency to go there, I always wish to go to that place. So you can obviously tell that. So now we are concentrating on the place where you have gone. Obviously that would be the content. Now so you can give a little bit of description for the adjectives for river. Whenever there is certain descriptions asked, you should know that you have to apply adjectives, because adjectives are the descriptive words, So wide, deep, shallow, okay, I am talking about the river. Cold waters, obviously it's about the water. Dirty water, clean, beautiful, murky, grey. So these are the adjectives which you can use for the water. Okay, it can be, you can also describe it's crystalline water, like clear water, and you can also give a picturesque description, emerald or white. So this is what you have to do. As soon as you get a cue card, you bring a picture or picturesque way. You have to speak in a very picturesque way, making the examiner feel that he has to create an imagination in his mind, like this, like a photography, like as if he had seen. Using these adjectives, it will always give a good picture in the mind of the examiner. That is what you have to speak. And cue card should be always said like a story. If you speak it like a story, it would be very effective. Now you're talking about the river bank. Now I remember, yeah, one of the students has said, yeah, river bank. Yes, we all went and we sat in the water. We sit in the water and we sit in the lake. So are you doing a water yoga or something to sit in the lake? So it is not sitting in the lake. So it is actually what he meant was that we were sitting on the banks of the river. So there are certain words for that. You can use river bank. Yes, you can see a river front, or you can also see water front. So these are the words which you can use. Now adverbs for the river flow. These things will really help you to give a beautiful description about the fishing area. Now you can talk about the speed, like rapid, fast, quick, sluggish and all that. Slow, stagnant water. If you want to talk about the movement of the water, yes, it flows smoothly, swiftly, continually, like captiously, nestedly, silently, all these words, calmly, profusely, peacefully, all these words could be used to show to mention the flow of the water. Now also, as it is a fishing area, obviously it is sure that you have gone for fishing. So you can use the names of certain fishing equipment that you have used for the fishing, like fishing net, reel, rod, line, a hook, okay, boat, yes. And there is also what cooler, means after catching the fish, in which that you have stored the fish in the cooler, and jig, rig, and bait. Bait is something like a kind of the shape of the fish itself, and also the jig, so which has something which has hooks. Whatever you have used, you can use. Even if you have not used also, you can make up some stories that you have used it. Now different kinds of fish can also be used. So these are the vocabulary which would help you to make it a picturesque one. And now kinds of fish, that is large pelagic fish, that is a mid-water fish. And you can bring a beautiful description. Yes, when we put the bait in the water showed some ripples, and in which we could see the shoals of fish coming on top of the water, which was a very beautiful sight. Then different kinds of other fish, scallops, oysters, clams, mollusks, that is shellfish, squids and octopus, and also sardines. So you can also mention the different varieties of fishes which you have caught. Now how the catch was, you can also specifically say the bycatch was very high, or you had caught a lot of fish, whatever. Now number 8 is what the content, that is when you are in the process of catching the fish, what you could say. We adored, or we reveled, and we adored the beauty of the water, and also in the catching of we were indulged in catching the fish in such a way that we all had a very beautiful time during that. Then we luxuriated in. Then we all amused ourselves by doing this. We lived it up. So we all were involved in this process of catching the fish. So various ways you can speak. Now next, about the conclusion part, that is of this cue card, that is experience of catching the fish, experience of fishing. You can obviously say that should be the conclusion part of the cue card, that is what was your experience to that. It can be it was just an ecstatic moment, it was we had a lot, it was gayful, now it was enjoyable, gaiety, contentment. We all went back with a lot of contentment, we were all overjoyed, we cherished the moments, we fulfilled, and it was actually something, my dream, and it was quite fruitful. Also joyance, and we were filled with gratification after you have caught a lot of fish and you put it in this in that box. So gratification, it was of course an amusement. Memorable moment, delightful. So all these words you can use. Now if this, so with that the cue card has ended with a river. Suppose you have gone to the sea, similar words you can use, and with a slight change to show the abundance of the water, and if anything it's for the flood, to show the flood or something related to the sea. You can obviously use the words like tide, deluge, cascade. Cascade is the waterfall, cascade of water. Next is engulfment, that is the water gushed into the shore, that it engulfed a lot of villages and the streets like that. Then inundation means everything just under the water. To show the surplus of the water, you can say glut, oversupply of water, overabundance, torrents of waves or showers. So, and also cannonade. About the seashore, the shoreline, shorefront, esplanade, seacoast, beachfront. I can also say all the sides like northwest, south, so all that, upstream, downstream, plage, okay, strand. Also talk about the sands. So lot of things, lot of vocabulary would help you to give a very good picture about your fishing area to the examiner. I hope you have understood. So would it be helpful? Please make your comments. Okay, I will be waiting for that. So moving on to the cue card 2, that is, suppose if the question is now describe a person whom you admire the most, and you can, the questions are, the cues are, what is he and how do you know him, why do you admire him. Obviously in the same manner you can also make a mind map and then, or the web diagram, and whatever thoughts come to your mind you can put it where, when, how, all these things. Okay, so because you have only 1 minute to prepare. So the physical features, obviously you can talk about the person. It is, the adjectives are always fixed with a noun, okay, and adverbs always with the verbs. So the physical features, broad built or strong built, slim and tall. He is a well educated person, elite, fair, broad shoulder. Now yeah, blue eyed, if it's a lady, blue eyed or blondie hair. Okay, then you can also say baby faced, elegant, then attractive, and also jaunt or obese. All these words can use. He was fit as a fiddle. These words could be descriptive words showing about the talking about the person. Now you can fix it with the occupation of the person, that is, suppose he was a doctor or an engineer. You can also say reputed. These words would give a good description about the person. He is a reputed personality, reputed doctor, or was proficient. He was very much skilled in it. He was an expert engineer. Now conventional person, prominent, distinguished personality. So eminent, acclaimed, august, preeminent. So all these words would help you. Widely known, okay, of high standing. These would help. Now to talk about the particular place or location, like where you met him. You can obviously talk about whether you have met it in a great gathering or somewhere you went for a party or something. You can say it was a grandiose, impressive or splendid, stately gathering, august gathering, lavish, yes, now luxurious, extravagant, gorgeous, marvelous, all these words, princely. These words would exceptional, these words would really help you to now to give a beautiful picture about the person, about the place where you have met that person. Next is the characteristic features of the person. You can say that obviously why you liked him. Yes, it is very clear that you like somebody because of his because of the optimistic qualities of the person. Yes, he must be having some positive attitude or some positive vibes or some positive related things. So you can always say he is an intellectual being, he was a voracious reader, he is of adaptable nature, an amiable person. Yes, amiable means approachable person. Then he is a prodigy. He is a prodigy, kind-hearted. Then you can also use humble person, humility. All these words would help you. Ambitious, caliber, great, with great potential, creativity. All these. And of course, now if he is a little bit jovial type, you can also say that he is quite a very jovial. You also like to be in the middle of, to be with a person who is quite humorous. You can also say he is a very jovial person, humorous person, witty, and of course of admirable nature. And if you are very thick enough for two persons who cannot separate one from the other, you can also say two peas in a pod, where two like two, so it's actually an idiom also, two peas in a pod. So, and now you have to specifically talk about the reason why you like the person. Obviously there should be some reason, isn't it? Yes. Now you can also cite an example, give an example why, or on any incident which happened to make you that like that person, or to admire that person. All right. So obviously it can be like he is a person who has done a lot of help for my family, or he helped the society, or he helped this person, that person, whatever it may be. It may not it need not be that he has helped you, but even if he has helped somebody else also, that would also be an attractive feature for you to like somebody. Yes. Now so with two cue cards we have done here. Now let us see, now if a question was asked now for the cue card for the traditional, to talk about a traditional object, you know, a question was asked to a student, talk about a traditional object. And the student said, yes, I like to talk about the traditional object, his name is coconut. So he said his name is coconut. He has not only said coconut, he has also personified coconut. You know, coconut is a nut, and for fruits and nuts you can't call it as an object, traditional object. Obviously the thing is that what I am saying is that if you talk about coconut, it need not be the coconut. If you had spoken about the coconut shell, which is like olden times, yes, it is, out of it is made of, ladles are made out of it, and various decorative items could be made out of coconuts. Yes, and out of the coconut leaves mats and all are made, yes, and so many, with the use of shells, so many other things are made. So the objects which are made out of something, that is what you call it, like objects. So of course all the musical instruments, then you know that Aranmula mirror, that is also an object which talks about the tradition. And handloom saris or Kanchipuram saris, all these are traditional objects. I am not going to the detail of this because I have already given two types of cue cards. You can well use it in this for all the cue cards whichever has been given to you in such a manner, so that you would be able to speak very effectively. All right. Shall we move on to part 3? Yes. So part 3 is just a rush up. It will be just a superficial one. Now, yes, okay, it is just like what you have to concentrate on part 3, that is, it should be quite an elaborated part. It is not like the part 1 to speak very briefly. You have to expand it, and you have to speak on the topic very widely. So you have to include, while you are speaking, obviously this fluency and coherence should be there. So whatever we have seen, that is fluency and coherence. Now what is fluency and coherence? Again, I am just talking about fluency and coherence. What is it? Fluency, that is lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, stress, intonation, everything together, and where you are not able to stop and speak, there should be a flow of the language. That is what this fluency is. So that fluency should be there even for part 3. Yeah. So include the proper value points when you speak in part 3. You also cite certain examples, give some examples, whatever you know. Then you can use the idioms and phrases, and all the parameters or all the strategies which we have already discussed also comprises of the part 3, and it should be included. It should be included in the part 3. Okay, so part 3, and one of the strategies, is what? Fluency and coherence. So only fluency we have spoken about. Now what is coherence? So I don't want to avoid that coherence. So because it comes together, coherence. So what is coherence? Actually it is just to link the language and ideas together to form coherent connected speech. You should be able to link your ideas with connection. There should not be any breakage, to form a flow of the language. This is just a flow of the language, and it is just the linguistic connectivity to move from one sentence to the other, to move from one phrase to the other. So the collocation of the words, and then how you form a complete sentence. So that should be there. in order to have a correct coherence, you have to use it is found in all the compound sentences, as well as complex sentences. So the examiner expects you to use compound sentences and complex sentences in your speaking mostly, because in this sentence itself it connects, it brings into lot of other grammatical elements too. That's the reason. So that is like in the compound sentence, indeed, evidently, clearly, of course, for this reason, certainly, besides these words you can bring. Now to show about the contrast, nevertheless, despite being rich, he doesn't help anyone. If you want to use the word despite being rich means in spite of being rich, he never helps the poor people. So this is also another way. Now in spite of, then however, that is contrast, is coming under the contrast list. Alternatively, then on the contrary, yet. So all these things will help you. Now although again you say, although he is a kind-hearted person, what? How will you connect it? You can also connect it with yet, or you can also, although he is an intelligent person, he is very, although he is an intelligent person, he is very what will you say? So something little bit negative should come. No, it's not negative, something contrast. So although he is an intelligent person, he gets easily hurt. So that is another thing. Intelligent person doesn't mean that he can be, doesn't mean that he shouldn't be hurt easily. He would be, isn't it? So it depends from person to person. Now, and then coordinating conjunctions also could be inculcated in it, like for, and, but, usage of all these words, or, yet, so, these words. Now subordinating conjunctions, so you have to use all the coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions and all that, and also correlative conjunctions in this section, which would really bring you marks. Okay, it would be a tactic for you to fetch your marks. Okay, so you can use in order to, whether or not, such that, all these are the subordinating conjunctions, although, as if. Alright, so these are the words which would really help you. Now let us go to correlative conjunctions like both and, either or, either this or that. Neither nor is negative. Neither he is a, how will you say that word? Now sentence, how will you connect it? Neither nor. He is neither talented nor intelligent. We can also, he is neither intelligent nor talented. So do you mean that he is fit for nothing? So it can be somewhat like this. So it doesn't mean that he is, you can't say that he is fit for nothing. He might be fit for something else elsewhere, but only these two qualities you are mentioning. Alright, not only but also. So these are always, if you use not only, on the other side you have to use, on the other clause you have to use the other part, that is but also. Now sometimes you can also see not only but also. How you will connect it, just you have to work on that. Alright, now rather than, so that, so as, so like he is as cool as cucumber. Whatever you do, he is just least bothered. He is as cool as cucumber. So as, that is it. So this is also about an idiom too. So that is actually when which you can use in this part 3 as well. Now shall we move on to common errors? So before we move on to the common errors, I would like to check the comments again to see. Please, I'm just seeing the comment. Yeah, so no much comments. Now let us move on. We are going to discuss the common errors. So that is number 1, rule out S in plenty. Rule out S in plenty. So some students use a lot of S unnecessarily. So why? It's not required at all. So especially news, they say, what is the correct word? Music. It is news. Music, they say it's music. So unnecessary usage of S, it is actually incorrect. Peoples, no, it is just people. And peoples you can use when you're talking about the peoples of different countries. If you're talking about people of one country, it is people. Now sports is, no, not at all. The correct word is sports. Technologies, the word is technology. It's technology. Now social sciences and all the related sciences. Social science, not at all, not sciences. Social science. Crickets, no, it is just cricket. There is crickets which is used for a particular kind of that insect which is somewhat like the grasshopper, which is found in the bush. So that is crickets, which makes creaking sound in like in the evenings and all that, or at nights, hiding in the bush. So during the dusk time it is normally seen. So that they are known as crickets, but for the sports you have to say cricket. Foods, it is food. Now works, it is work only. For the noun it is works, and now for the noun it is work. Alright, but for the verb it is work. You know that. I remember a reel, watching a reel there. What is he saying? Yes, he says that I dance, you dance, he dances. Is he dancing more than me? No. 645 people dance and he dances. So that is verb. So it is incorrect. So here it is actually, why is the difference now? So that is the question about. So that is used only for the verb. He works, she works. But for the noun it is just work, like homework, okay, household work, etc. Now foods and work we have already said. Children, it is just children. Children's is just an apostrophe. Children's park, it is apostrophe S. Friends is, it's just friends. Next, yeah, mouses, it's just mice. And women's are said like that. So women's, it's not at all women's. The pronunciation itself is women, and there again you don't have an S. You have to say women, and not women's also. It is women. Monies, no, money. So amounts, he amounts to nothing. It amounts to the waste. In that way you can say amounts, but otherwise you have to say amount of something, the amount of this car. So that is it, the amount of calamities made. So there you have to use the word only amount. Every times, not at all. Every itself is a singular word. So it is every time, every time. Furnitures, no, it is furniture, furniture. You can talk about pieces of furniture when you have seers, teapot, sofa, etc. You can collectively call it as, you can call it together furniture or pieces of furniture. But the word is furniture. Staffs, no, it is staff, S-T-A-F-F. Of the same organization you call it as staff. Even if whatever the number may be, it should be staff. So another one, that airs, oxygens, no, it is oxygen and air. Air you cannot sit and count, air 1 air, 2 air, 3 air. So it is actually air. Now there is another idiom because she puts on a lot of airs. That is an idiom. Puts on a lot of airs means she just show off a lot. So that is a different meaning. Now let's move on to the next type, that is the next error which is commonly made, that is you have to rule out the to here. Here in this category you have to rule out the to. You have to, you should not use the word to, the preposition to. For example, enter to. You have to say I entered to that house. No, it is enough that you say I entered that house. Okay, then I went to abroad. Abroad is actually not a place. It is, abroad is an adverb. So with an adverb and with an adverb you cannot use to. I went abroad, that's enough. Or she went abroad, or he went abroad. With abroad, the only preposition which could be used for abroad is from. They came from abroad, that could be used. But other than that, you cannot use any other preposition for the word abroad. So please remember that. Next, visit again to there. Visit again there. So in these cases, you have to rule out to. And advised to. So again here advised him, she advised him, no advice to. Again help to him, help him is enough. Or help me, he helped me, no helped me, helped to me, it is incorrect. Now joined to, again you are joining somewhere. I joined this college, I joined this college, I joined that school. It's joined, no to here. Again come back to home, come back home. Again home, with home you should not use any preposition, it is come back home. Alright, so now let us move on to various other mistakes, grammatical mistakes where you make, that is the general mistakes, like father is an ex-serviceman. That is the way you have to use, but sometimes they use father was an ex-serviceman. Father was an ex-serviceman means he is already an ex-serviceman. Again you don't have to say he was an ex-serviceman. So father is an ex-serviceman, it's correct. Now she is a graduation in BCom. No, she is a graduate, or she is an undergraduate. She's an undergraduate. Okay, that's enough. Or she is pursuing her BCom degree. This is enough. Next, my mother now takes care of me. That means your mother did not take care of you earlier. So you should not use the word now here, it's irrelevant. So she takes care of me, or she took care of me, or my parents take care of me. That's enough. You don't have to use the word now everywhere. Now and nowadays. Everybody has the tendency of using now and nowadays everywhere. It's not required. Only what is recently happening, then only you have to use, or something new. For that you need to use the word nowadays and now. Next, father name, mother name, brother name, these are often made mistakes. It is father's name. It is not the plural that you are using. It is apostrophe s. Father apostrophe s. Father's name means name belonging to my father. Mother's name apostrophe s. Brother's name. So don't be afraid that you are using a wrong word. It is apostrophe s, not a plural. We have two siblings, and this is quite hilarious. We have two siblings for my mother. What do you mean? My parents have two children, my brother and I. So here, or it is enough that you say my parents have two children, my brother and I. Other than saying, so for your parents you are not siblings, right? So you should not use that word. Now, we were excited to went there. To went, it is to plus infinitive. With to you should not use a past tense. So the tense used is incorrect. We were excited to go there. With to always the infinitive form goes. Now I like to listen music. I like to listen to music. Listen to or listening to. I like listening to music. Next, we lost that class. No, we lost that LOSS. No, it's incorrect. We missed that class. You can say that we missed that class. Now, another common mistake is this. We can able to, using can and able together. We can able to or we can't able to do this. No. Please understand that can itself, the meaning is able to do something. So along with that word can, it is actually a modal auxiliary verb. So along with the modal auxiliary verb can, you need not use not able to or able to, because that itself, the meaning itself shows ability. So only one is enough. Next is there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people. That's how to say. Now, I am not a reading person. Are you a newspaper to be read about? So, I am not a reading person. That's quite weird. So, how will you say? Now, you don't have to say I am not a reading person. I am not in the habit of reading, or I do not like reading, or reading is not my passion, or reading is not my cup of tea. So, that is also fine if you speak. I oftenly go to. Another mistake. I oftenly, no, not at all. Often itself is another adverb. Here again with one adverb often you don't have to fix another ly to make it more adverb. So there is no such double adverb or anything, it is just often. There is no need of using oftenly. So I often go to this place, I often visit my grandmother, or I often visit this library, etc. Next, prawns and corns. Yes, you can fry it and eat them. Prawns and corns, you can fry it and have. It is not prawns and corns. You are just saying advantages and disadvantages. So it means PROS, pros and cons. UNS, pros and cons. That's fine. Travel with boat. You are not carrying the boat and traveling, right? Are you traveling with the boat? So you travel by. The preposition should be used is by. We travel by car, by train, but when you walk, what will you use? It's not by. You will not say by walk, or you will have to say we went on foot. We went on foot, or we went walking. Just enough. We went walking. There, here again before that you should not use any preposition. So that is one thing which you have to remember. Now share for me is another one. Share, you always share with somebody. Share with, the preposition should be share with. Another one, at early morning, at early evening, or at evening. So it's incorrect. How will you say? At early morning, no, in the early morning, in the evening. So morning and evening, you have to say in the early morning, or in the morning, or in the evening. But when it comes to night and noon, what will you say? You should not use in the, you will say at noon or at night. Here again, that's the preposition that you have to use for noon, at noon and at night. Alright. Now, as because, sometimes they use both together, as because. What is it? As because road systems are increased, as because of the large number of vehicles. It is enough that you use just one, because is enough. Now searching him is another one. Searching him, you have to use searching for him. Searching him means yes, how the police check you to see that whether you have hidden something, you have stolen something and hid somewhere in your body. So this policeman is coming and searching you. That is searching someone. You have to, if you are searching for somebody or for a person, you have to say searching for him. For is essential there. Otherwise the meaning changes. Now, not good in maths. It's not in, not good at maths. It is you're not good at cricket, or I am good at hockey. You may say like that. Before 2 months or in 2 years back. Okay, here again the mistakes are. So how will you correct it? Before 2 months, you have to say 2 months ago, or 2 months, yes, 2 months ago, or 2 years ago, not in 2 years back. So it is quite odd to say that in 2 years back. So 2 years ago, just to fix that word ago, you don't have to use unnecessarily some other words which is not apt. Alright, so certain mispronounced words, let's have a look about the mispronounced vocabulary. So certain dictions are to be pronounced or to be uttered properly, like listening. Some people say listening, listening to the, listening, no sa. So it is listening, listening. Next, wear. It is not wear, it's W-E-A-R, it's wear. I wear my clothes, it's wear, just like how you say W-H-E-R-E and W-E-R-E. Same, it is, they are all homophones. So it is should be categorized in the same way. They are all homophones, same pronunciation for W-E-A-R as well. Next, W-O-N is not won. They here again they mispronounce it as W-O-N is won. We won the match. It is incorrect. You have to say we won the match. W-O-N is won. And when you say the words with W, you have to round your lips and speak. Then it would be correct. We have won the match. So here again it is won, like how you say the word O-N-E-1. Same, one. Now swimming. What is swimming? It is not swimming, it is swimming. You are swimming in the water. Next, boys. What is boys? It's boys. Again, women, we said college. It's college, not college. It's not college, it is college. Then every. you have to say it as every man or every woman, okay, or every person, okay. Now now jumped, how will you say it? No idu there, you have to say jumped. T sound should come, jumped, jumped. Even if it is ed, the pronunciation should be jumped, like as if the t is there at the end, like that. Climbed, it's climbed, climb. Here again the b is silent for certain words like thumb, plumber. These are here, the b is silent, you don't have to utter it. As I've said that always, it doesn't matter what the spelling is, the pronunciation might be different. So simple and humble, it's not simple and humble, you have to say simple. Per sound, wherever the p is, you have to say p. People, peacock, it is a plosive sound, it is plosive, it should break from the lips, like you have to say p, plosive sound. So simple but humble, 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 is simple and humble. Next, restaurant, how will you say it? It should be restaurant, restaurant. Tour, you went to tour or tour, so how will you say it? You have to say it as tour, tour. Here it is the diphthong which comes here, tour, tour, you have to say it as tour or tourists. So these are the mispronounced vocabulary which I shared with you. Please, I hope that you would be correcting and correcting yourself. Next, if you had made mistakes so long, so that is what I expect. Now extensively used vocabulary are like, it is unnecessarily they are using certain words, and also, and at the end, and all. These things should be avoided, or such a practice should be avoided, unnecessarily use, and so, and and all should not be used everywhere at the sentences. It is quite irrelevant and it's not necessary also. And next, another one is nowadays, nowadays, nowadays. Why that all the time? Then that time we went there, that time when we went there. So again, for every sentence is fixing that time for every time. So these are not required. Nowadays, one student was saying, nowadays rivers are very important in everyone's life. It means that rivers have cropped up now suddenly? No, we know that the life itself began with the rivers and streams and seas and mountains, right? So it is, you cannot use the word nowadays. It is something, if you are talking about the recent gadgets which have been invented, then you can say about nowadays, and nowadays the traffic is too high on this road. So something which is happening recently, only then you need to use nowadays. Otherwise it is just quite irrelevant. So let me just check the comments. Can't see any comments. So how do you find the session? Have you understood? Could I be able to share a few points with you? So I wish all aspirants of the IELTS would really concentrate on these things in order to get a good score. So this is just being a well-wisher that I would like all the candidates to do well for your exams. So you know that Rome was not built in a day. So is fluency. Fluency also was not built in a day. You need to have practice and practice and practice. You have to build up your vocabulary, your content, and enrich yourself. It is just a daily process. So this fluency also was not built in a day. Hard work, consistency, perseverance are all essential elements for success, for a great success. You know, success, there is no shortcut to success. So you can only see, you have to do hard work a lot. You have to do a lot of hard work. Only then you will be able to success. So I have given you certain points which would help you. So I think that we can only take a horse to the water, we cannot make it drink. Now you are the horse, so you have to decide whether you have to drink or not. Okay, so I hope this would really help you. So wishing all the spectators a great success. I, Ganga Cherwari, is signing off. Thank you.